we are going to record and we are going to share screen. This one.
I think you had a squirrel moment.
Did I? I did. All right. So today we are going to be talking about how we go through situations. Now, ironically, we were just talking about how we handle things, and when Zakiya said, "Can't complain, can't complain about it." So the facts, feelings, and faith. And so it says we can choose the to view life based on feelings, faith, or facts. So I can't complain. Can't complain about my life. Can't complain. Um, Now and then Gail says, you know what? Sometimes I do want to have like a little baby temper tantrum. Sometimes I just want to throw one. I want to throw a little party. I want to throw a little temper tantrum party, and I want to just let it go, right? So you guys know I'm big on words. I love, love, love words. Because we know what the Bible says about words. They say words are powerful. They are sharper than any two-edged swords. It divides a thing, your soul and spirit, like good and bad, up and down, in and out, open and close. So our words divide a thing. Um, and so it divides it so close, because when the scripture says it divides it with soul, like soul and spirit, bone and marrow, so it's so close. It's like a fine line as what we speak and what our words are doing for us, right? And so when we're saying a thing, we have to really understand that our words are cutting a thing, and it's dividing the thing from a thing, right? So feelings are an emotional state or a reaction, sensitive and sympathetic. And then I looked it up in this dictionary. It's called the Webster's New World Dictionary. So it kind of speaks to like how we talk in layman's terms right now. And it's the ability to experience physical sensation. It's an awareness or a sensation. So here we talk about feelings, and it's those who commit to living life in this way are emotionally unbalanced. So when you're living your life with, I can't, I can complain about some things. I can go in and I can give it to you. I can complain about it all the time. Have you ever had those people where they're just constant? It's a constant complaining about everything that they got going on in life. Every part of their life is a complaint. It's like, and I remember back in my 20s, I used to be that girl. Like when I had my older two, so it became this thing where I started complaining about, how my life was going. And I was complaining about it based on how I was feeling about it. So I was feeling like I was never going to have anything. I was never going to be, able to, come out of a thing. I was always going to, feel like I was going to be broke. I always like that feeling like my life it's bad. And so in the moment of how I was feeling, I was giving that feeling to everybody else. And so it became, like Zakiya said, the complaint. Then I started complaining about, well, I'm at work today, and I'm not making that much, and, my car. And so it was like everything that I was speaking or what I was feeling, it was like metastasizing and it was happening, right? So it says they're usually up and down like a yo yo. The Bible says a double minded man is unstable in all its ways. So if you're basing your life on a feeling, you are unbalanced. Okay. It's like, it says it's like a yo yo and respond emotionally to others and the circumstances they face in life. They are inconsistent, and because they are completely consumed with their feelings, they are generally not available and often cannot be trusted. Because if you cannot trust yourself with your own thoughts, how do you think that someone else is going to trust you with that thought? Because now here's the thing, you're double minded. It's like, oh, well, maybe, oh, well, no, oh, well, maybe this is, oh, well, maybe I'll do, and so then you're inconsistent with your actions, with your thoughts, with your processes. And when circumstances in life start coming to you, you then either you're going to feel a certain way, because now you're feeling like the whole world is against you. I remember feeling that in my 20s. I felt like the whole world was against me. Everything was happening to me. Why is it happening to me? And I felt at the lowest that I could possibly feel. Like I was so low, so low, the lowest of the lowest. Okay. So have you guys ever like felt the feelings of it? And so when I'm done with this lesson, then we'll kind of go around and I'll pick, there's only 4 of you guys here today, but we'll talk about that. So then we get to the second one, which is faith. And so many consider this as a religious word of faith, because if we've gone to church, we know the word says faith without works is dead. It's these things, you have to have the faith the size of a mustard seed. But faith has nothing to do with the belief. It's a doing thing. Because we talked about that last Sunday where we said, you know, um, uh, 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 I can't even get her name. Tara had gave us the scripture of James 2:26. Faith without works is dead. Basically, your faith, if you take out faith and the works, it's like a dead corpse. It's just like a dead thing, right? So it's like it says, it's a doing word. You're either stepping out, taking a risk in faith, or you're not. People who base life on faith will generally go between extreme highs and extreme lows. They'll step out and take the risk in faith, but then get disappointed when they don't pan out the way they hoped. Okay. So sometimes I remember back in the day, I would have that faith that faith. Um, but then when things didn't go the way that I wanted it to go or the way I hoped it would go, then it was just kind of like you get to this extreme low. So if we think about my daughter last weekend, her birthday party. She had the faith that the party was going to take place. Oh, she just knew that this party was going to take place. But when it didn't take place the way when she wanted it to and how she wanted it to, how low did she go, you guys? Because everybody knows she went to the lowest of lows. She went so low, right? So then we get to the facts, living life based upon the facts, the truth about what you got really going on, and who you actually are. So this becomes a strong foundation on which we can build our lives as we become more grounded in who we are. We balance out. We still have the emotional ups and downs, but we are no longer led by the emotions. Our security is grounded in who we are, which means that for others would become mature, consistent, decisive, and strong. Okay, so there's going to be some questions, but the word faith is like this unquestioning belief to complete trust or confidence. So we have to have complete trust and confidence in ourselves. So when we kind of put all these together, this is who we are. I know, like I feel, it's like the chakras are lined. I feel, I know, I have, I can, and all of those things are lined up. So the facts. The word fact is a thing that is known or proved to be true. Facts is a thing that has actually happened or is true. It is the state of things as they are, reality or truth. Okay. So your truth is, what is it today? What does it look like today? So when we talked at the beginning of the month, I want to say, or last month, I told you guys we got 5 months. So last month we said we got 5 months in order to start moving things and getting things moving, getting things planted, getting things to where they are. Because right now, if you're not moving and if you're not planting the seeds in the right season, nothing is going to grow. The things that you are asking for are not going to grow. So you have to put the seed in the ground and have the feeling of knowing that it's going to be the ability to experience the physical sensation or the awareness of the sensation. Okay. I'm aware that when I plant this seed in the ground, I have the feeling that it's going to grow. When people say, I have a feeling, that song that they sing in church, I have a feeling everything's going to be all right. It's like the knowing, the surety and the faith of feeling and knowing that the thing that I have been doing, it's a fact, it's a proven fact. So when you have feelings, faith, and facts all lined up together, you have the knowing, the feeling of knowing that everything's going to be working out for you. I have the faith, which is the unquestioning belief that it's a complete confidence that the thing that I've planted, when I put it in the ground, I have the feeling that it's going to grow. Like I know 100%. I know that when I put it in the ground, it's going to grow. Then we have the fact. If I have the fact of the matter is that right now, nothing in my life is growing. Okay. I have the surety of knowing that nothing in my life is growing, but I have the feeling that when I plant this seed in my life, I have the unquestioning belief, the sheer confidence that I'm putting this seed in the ground and it's going to grow, because the fact is it's a thing that has been proven to be true, because I know that it's going to happen because I've done it before. I love how God gave me this word today, because I was like, well, God, oh no, And after the class that I went through this weekend, it was like this woman had just erupted out of me. And I thought, man, if this happened in 5 days, I can imagine what's going to happen in, in a year, right? So when we think about the fact that you have to have these three lined up, because if you're just basing your life off of the feeling, well, I can't complain about it. I'm feeling like I'm okay. I think I'm all right. But when you have the faith of knowing, the sheer faith, the confidence of knowing, I can't complain. I'm good. I just know everything's gonna work out for me because I planted this seed of faith and hope. When the Bible tells us, let this mind be in you, which is also in Christ Jesus, it's like the knowing of saying, I put this faith in God, saying, I know that if I put this in here and I plant this seed of hope and faith and love, that it's going to grow into that thing. I have the sheer fact of knowing it because it's happened before. So that's why when God said, try me and see, just test me. He was like, test me and see. You have to have the sheer confidence to test God at his word. That's what he said. Take him at his word, try him at his word. Okay. So when you guys think about feelings, has there ever been a time that you have ever actually like got into your feelings about things? So there's the question. The first question is, from which perspective do you live life most of the time? So most of the time, are you living it from your feelings? Are you living it from faith? Are you living it from the fact? I tend to now say that I am living it from a tinge of faith and a little bit of, and like kind of 50-50 faith and fact. I want to be able to where I can line them all up, where I'm living, you know, if it's 100%, we got to say like 50% of my feelings and 25% faith and 25% facts, to where it lines up to 100%, where I got everything in the line and I'm good, right? So right now I'm between faith and facts. Like I have this unquestioning belief, I have the trust, and I have the confidence of knowing that things are going to work out. But then I have that it's a thing that which is known or proven to be true. It's a thing that has actually happened or is true. So it has actually happened. I have seen God move on my behalf because I've had the sheer confidence of knowing and taking him at his word. Now, do I have the feeling sometimes that everything's going to work out? No. So having all those three, I would love to have that. Okay. So I'm gonna kind of just go around. I don't want you to get into a lengthy thing because we have other people here and I know everybody wants to share. But from which perspective do you live most of the time? And I think this is Brianna. So I'm gonna start from the bottom up. Or Tara. Tara, where is Tara? She probably ain't here if she don't
I'm
answer.
here.
Oh, okay. So bottom up, you're the bottom. From which perspective do you live your life most of the time?
Um, I want to say,
Uh-oh, didn't
I want
hear
to
it.
say faith. I want to
Faith?
say faith. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Miss Brianna, I know that's you on that little iPhone.
It is me. I want to say feelings and a mixture of faith, but I'm gonna keep working at it as faith.
Okay. All right, Miss Gail.
I think I start off sometimes with feeling, and then I go to the thought process that there's a reason why this is happening.
Mm-hmm.
And then it moves kind of also into a logical.
Yeah.
But it always seems to start out with a feeling touch, I think.
Wow. And that's kind of like, I think really when we think about it, Gail, I think people really start with feelings. Because when things happen, that's the first place we go to. Is just like, I'm just so emotional. But
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. And then typically now pick up the phone, talk to somebody, and
Mhm.
then I can get into that faith-based and logical space.
Very good.
But that's kind of been my routine, I would say, over the
Mhm.
last few months, mainly the last few months, because, yeah, I would say that's my pattern now for the
Yeah.
most part.
Yeah.
Not to say that I don't get into my feelings pretty darn good for a moment and
I think
then
we
move
all
to the
do.
next section.
Yeah.
But for me, it always starts with feelings, I feel
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
So,
And welcome back, Miss Deanna. I know
Thank
we
you.
have been missing each other and we have changed the time. So we will be here on Wednesdays and Sundays now at 6 o'clock. I think it's just we get more done during the day and then we can kind of get into the nighttime where we just get in the word and we relax. With that being said, madam, from which perspective do you live your life most of the time?
Most of the time, I do live my life on faith because it's just some of the things I've been through that were just like extremely hard for me to process. I had to depend on faith
Mm-hmm.
and it never let me down. But then I think I start out in my feelings and then I have to jump over into faith and talk myself off of that feeling ledge
Yeah,
where it's just like, yeah, you feel like this. And I understand like the universe responds to my feelings.
absolutely.
So when I'm in my feelings and they're down and low, which I've been in for a little while here lately because of circumstance, it's a little struggle to get back into faith.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, because God has shown himself to be faithful to me
Yeah.
in this situation, it's just like, well, he did it before. He's always been there. He's never let you down. Things have always worked out.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it hurts right now. And I'm still in my feelings, but I do believe with everything in me that it's going to work out. How? I don't know.
Yeah, so I
When?
think the
I'm
way
not
I
either.
hear it is now you're living between faith and fact. So you live between the trust and confidence in God, and then you have the fact, a thing that is known or has proved to be true. God has proven himself to you in past time, so you live between the faith and the fact. But we all live, and it's, when we look at it and we're having the conversation and the dialogue, we live in the feeling first. So the thing happens to us, we get in our feelings and we're just like, oh, but if we stay living in our feelings, we never get anything accomplished. So, how I'm listening is we all navigate through our feelings. Then we get into what's the next one for me? Do I go into my faith or do I go into the fact? But I look when I'm hearing it, it's like we all go from our feelings, then we go to our faith, and then we go to what is known to be true for me is that God has never left me. He said he will never leave me nor forsake me. He said he will never take him at his word. And he said, I'm here. So we talked about that last week, Wednesday night, when we talked about Ezekiel 37, where he said, all you got to do is ask me for help because I want to help you, and so we have to know that there's the sheer confidence of knowing that God said, just come to me. You don't have to do anything else, just come and I will help you. But we get into those moments, and we've probably known those people, because when we started out, like when I started out on my journey of, of the Bible and church, it was in that moment where I didn't know what to believe. I didn't know who to believe. I didn't know why I should be believing, but I just knew that that's what I was supposed to be doing. I was supposed to be going to church. Church was the thing. We got to go to church. But they never kind of combine the church. It's like this recipe, and that's just what I just heard from the Spirit. It's like there's a recipe. if we go to church, what else is there to add to this thing? And so what we're finding is we're just going to church and we're just in this thing, but what's the recipe? There has to be a recipe. So when we think
Yeah.
about the recipe, we know that there is, in the beginning, there was, when we get to church, we have the praise and worship, we have the word that is read, then we have prayer, and then we have the reading of the scripture, and then we get into the meat, the word, then we get the word, and then we go into prayer. But it's like there's components that are missed, and then there is the judgment when we get into the thing, or when we're starting out the recipe, because how we look at it is not every recipe is going to be the same, but the
Right.
outcome of the thing is supposed it's going to be the, it's going to be the cake, right?
Yeah.
But grandmama may add butter, but my mama added oil, or my mama added what is another thing, uh they, some people went vegan. It's all going to be a cake. Now, is it going to taste the same? Probably not, right? One may be better than the other because it's the ingredient that you're using. Or here's the thing, grandma may have a secret ingredient that she's added to the cake. Mama may
Yeah.
decide, well, I don't want to add that to the cake because I never liked it, because I grew up on that. But and so she takes away from a thing. And so when we get into these different, atmospheres of church and religion, what happens is sometimes there's a thing that's added to the word, and then sometimes there's a thing that they take out of it. So not every church is the same. Not every setting is the same, but the outcome should give you the same. It should give you a cake. So when we're thinking about the word, when he said, the dry bones. Well, how come that? Oh, that's the amplified. Sorry. So sorry. I was looking at a different version. So we had talked about the breath of life last week, and that was when I mentioned asking for help, that came out of I got to go back in my notes.
Sometimes, T, it's really hard to ask for help because there's this whole judgment thing that people process in their head, like, well, how come you, and why can't you, and how come this? And then they want to know this whole backstory, which is um, necessary when you're sharing it with certain people who are in a position that they can make some things happen, or that or that they could help you, and that they are able to, and more than likely willing. And then there's that time when it's just like, I can't tell anybody this because I don't trust anybody with my business.
Yeah.
And it's hard as an adult to share some of the stuff that you've gone through, because people judge you and they look at you like, how can you let that happen? Why did that? Well, none of that really matters because here we are now. So,
So I was in this class on this past week, and it was with Eric Thomas. When I tell you that these people, man, I was like in this world of, and I don't want to say like Eric Thomas is like this king, but he is the guy that it really makes you look at yourself. So one of the things that they said is we are the sum total of the 5 people that we hang around. So if I'm hanging around people that are low, ain't got no money, they always complaining, they always doing something, and they're always judging me, I don't think I want to be around that, right? So when
right.
we get into, there were times I remember being in church, and I didn't know how to navigate my way through life, and this. I just knew that I had just become a mother. I was like 20 something years old. I'm a mother. My mother didn't teach me the skill set. She didn't give it to me. So I didn't know how to do that. And so what I was looking for was not so much as now when I'm thinking about it, I wasn't looking for a mother. I was looking for a guardian. I was looking for someone to help me navigate through this thing called motherhood and parenting, right? And
Yeah.
so when certain situations were happening, and I'm in these relationships, and excuse me, we're in church, and there, being an intercessor, the intercessor is kind of like the top, like we are right next to God. So when the situations happen, we instantly we just go into prayer. Someone called me and be like, Trina, I need you to, and I'm just right there. I'm just like, okay, let's get it. And there were certain times you have to be, and they would always tell us that we had to be like this temple that was clean. And and I'm thinking, well, they don't even know that in my temple I'm sneaking Pookie in through the side gate, right? So I'm sneaking him into the church. And it was like this like I felt like I was in this defilement. So I never lived up to my true potential because of the judgment that you knew that they were going to pass if you told them that you were like that you were really dealing with this thing of indiscretion and fornicating before you were married, but they never told you why. Like they never navigated you through that. So yes, Deanna, a lot of things do I keep to myself because I'm not going to give that to you because I can't even trust you with just the small things. And here's the
Right.
thing, I test people. Like I'll test you now. I'll give you a little small, like now I got these 3 women at my job, and I say one thing to one, and then all of a sudden someone else knows about it. And you're just like, well, how did you know? Well, now
Now
I
you
know the only person that I talked to was this person right here. So I don't give a lot of myself now. So I give like little menial conversations. And that if that conversation, if there's the 5 total some people, and if that conversation has gotten back, and I know the only person that I talk to is Deanna, and Gail comes to me and brings me the conversation, well, this is how, what are you two talking about me for? Because now I
right.
can't trust you with that thing. Now, here's the thing. If it was the scenario of, because it has been times where it's been me, Gail, and Tara, and we have had conversations, and Gail will bring it to me, and I used to get offended, but then Gail would give me advice. Gail never judged in the thing that was given to her. It was always, hey, I got some information and I want to talk to you, da da da. And we would cut, that's the dialogue we have. There's never been a judgment. And this is one of the things why I wanted this group, because I know what that feels like, Deanna, to have that judgment where people are judging you in the life that you're living. And there's no question. I'm not going to ask you, well, why did you do this? And how come you did this? Like, sis, how can we help you get out of that thing? When we think about Joseph, Joseph was put in a pit by his brothers, the very people that he gave his secret to. So think of yourself as a Joseph. Joseph gave a secret to his brothers because he said, I know I can trust my brothers. They know. And the brothers, turned their back on Joseph and was like, who does he think he is? He think he's finna rule us? No, because remember, it was the 12 sheaves of wheat. And he said, I saw them bowing down to me. And they said, nah, well, he ain't finna do that. So they took him and they lied about what they did. They ripped the coat of many colors that Abraham had gave him. Who was it? Jacob? Was it Jacob? And they tore it up, and then they put him in the pit. So Joseph is in a pit because he trusted people with the very thing. But there was judgment in that. Who do you think you are, Joseph, to come and tell us that we're gonna bow down to you? Who do you think you are, Joseph, to come and tell us that you're gonna be better than us? Because that's what they heard. They heard, so they walked in the feeling of a thing. Joseph out here talking all this noise. And I'm pretty sure some of the brothers weren't feeling a certain kind of way, but they walked in their feelings. So if you're constantly walking in the feeling, the unemotional state, the imbalance of a thing, yeah. So guess what they did to Joseph? They put him in the pit. Now, our objective as a women in this group, our objective is to get you out of the pit. And remember, Joseph was in prison and he said to the people, remember me. I'm going to give you my gift, but remember me. Don't forget about me. That's what Joseph told him. So here we are in this women's group. We've been here a year and a half, well, 2 years, 2.5 years now. We ain't forgot about each other. We still go, we still do what we have to do. We still check in on each other. There is no judgment. No judgment at all. So at some point, um, you have my number. Like if you need us, just hey, I need y'all. It's like we even have, I think we had a code word if I remember, but it's just like, hey, I need y'all. And we'll instantly pray. We ain't gonna ask you what's going on. We're not gonna be like, oh, Deanna, well, why? Well, how come you didn't do this? And how come you didn't do that? And why we just instantly we know what to do for each other. And you know why? Because we've been there. We've been at a place where we had friends, Deanna, that did not see us in the capacity that we see each other, did not see the gifts that we had, did not really see us as the women of God that we are, didn't see the potential of us getting out of a thing. But you would rather talk about me while I'm in the thing and not come and be like, girl, come on, get up out of here. And now how do we cover up this hole so you don't go back? So again, when you think about the five sum total of you are five, you are the five sum total of the people that you hang around. So now it's a matter of us, we got to check and see who am I hanging around? Who's my best friend? Who's the five people? I was in the group that day when they said that, and I sat back and I thought, well, I don't have nobody. And I instantly said, yes, I do. Yes, I do. They may not be with me always. I may not be able to get up and go to nobody's house. But guess what? I got Deanna. I got Gail. I got Tara. I got Zakia. I got Tangi. And I got Brianna. I got
I think
six.
that's pretty cool.
I
But
and
when
I
you don't have that, when you don't have that, then
and
you just walk this out like, what? Who do I turn to? Who do I trust? Who can I ask for advice on this matter? Because I don't always hear God like I should. So, then you end up just like stuck and you walking around like a nomad and not necessarily in your feelings about the event, but now you're in your feelings because I don't have anybody I can talk to about my stuff.
yeah,
But they'll come and talk to me
burden
about
you.
their stuff. But
Mhm.
I don't feel as if I went to them, they would have any sage wisdom. Maybe that girl, everything's gonna be okay. Well, hell, I know that eventually.
Yeah.
But right now, I'm stuck in this muck and this mire. And all you want to do is pat me on my back, and I'm still in this muck and this mire. I didn't even get a rope to pull me out of the
Mhm.
muck and the mire. You heard what I said. You responded like, oh, everything's going to be okay. And that was the end of it.
Because that's
And
all I can
I
give
end up feeling
you.
like I shouldn't have told you that. I shouldn't have
Right.
shared that
Again,
with you.
you are the five sum total of the people you hang around. If I come to you, and I'm gonna give you this scenario. Last weekend there was a situation that happened, and I'm toiling between my feelings and that which needs to be true, the fact. Okay, so I'm toiling between feeling and fact, and I'm like kind of wavering. But I knew the thing that I needed to do. I knew what I needed to do. And I'm just toiling, I'm toiling, I'm toiling. And the only thing that I knew to do at that moment was I knew to reach out to the group. And I reached out to them and I said, y'all, I need some help. Okay. I got a question. What would you do? And each of them had a different piece of advice. Right. And so in that piece of advice, the one of them, she called me and she said, hey, you get it together. She cut me short and was like, just get it together because I know that you're a strong individual and I know that you could do this. I know that you got this, but you got to do A, B, C, and D. Stop wavering in your feelings. Stop doing that. Say no, and that's what it is. And don't go any back and forth with anything. And just to hear her pick up the phone and call me at that moment, because we were all texting in the group at one point, and to hear her, she just stopped the whole conversation and she called me and she said, hey, ho, wait a minute. Let me get you together. And now I'm gonna give this the paraphrasing it in the terms that she did it for me was, girl, get it together. You don't have time to be wavering back and forth between that. She said, I know you're a strong individual. Now do what you got to do. And I was like, thank you so much. There was no tears, there was no crying, there was no nothing. So the five sum total of people. And at one point, I was just like, this, and how I felt about y'all was like, this is just my women's group. And it didn't mean like y'all didn't mean anything to me. Like I considered you as like you're my friends, but I didn't think of you guys outside of the scope of the five sum total of people. Like, because only y'all the only ones I really got Wednesday and Sunday. And when I sat there and I was because we had to do a live, this was the thing. So the banger of after the class, we had to go and we had to do a live in this group. And we had to give our two takeaways in the group. So long and short, when I said that, I was just like, yeah, and I really don't have. And I stopped myself and was like, yes, I do. I do. I got a group of women. I got one woman that's in in Atlanta. I got another one that's in Nebraska. I got two that's in Chicago. I got one that's in Virginia Beach, Virginia. I You can't tell me I ain't got no friends. So with that being said, Deanna, there was a time before these women came. Tarina didn't have nobody. And I told God, I said, God, anything that I need to know, that I need to go through, anything, I need you to help me. Because if someone else comes in, it was just like when you think about Pharaoh and Moses. God hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he told Moses, I'm going to do this because I don't want it to be where Moses thinks that he got the glory out of freeing the children of Israel. I don't want you to even think it. He said, I sent you for a purpose, but I don't want Pharaoh to get into his little head and get all arrogant and think that he did this. It was God, right? And so what I'm saying to you is God is the only friend that you need right now. And that may be what he's telling you. That's why he said, call unto me and I will answer, Deanna. And I'm going to show you some great and unsearchable things that you didn't even know. Call me. I want to help you. I'm trying to find the scripture. We talked about that. Tara, do you remember that scripture?
While we're at it, we should get Zakia's
All of the-
input on how she handles her stuff too, because I think she's the only one left.
Oh, Zakia. Yes. Where's she at? Did she leave?
No, she's right here.
Right there.
Hi. You were at the bottom, and now well, you were at the top. Now you're at the bottom. So, okay. So, from which perspective do you live your life most? Thank you, Gail. Thank you. Because I didn't know.
I thought you didn't see her, so that's why.
Well, she moved
Uh,
because she was above Deanna, and then she did something, and then she flopped down to the
I,
You
bottom.
moved, Zakia. Way the hell to go. Good job.
I don't know.
What?
I have to kick and scream first, and then my face kick in.
Okay. So
So
it's
yeah,
the
I have to,
feeling. We go.
yeah, I have to get in my feelings first. I have to do my theatrics.
Yeah.
'Cause then I know, God had to be like, oh, here we go.
Right.
Then I my face kick in. Yeah, slap me around a couple of times, like, girl, get it together.
You gotta live in your dramatics. Oh
Yeah,
my
you know what time it
God.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta cry, kick and cuss and scream, and
Yeah.
then he'd be like, he shake me a couple of times. He'd be like, you better get it together. You know who I am. You know who you are.
Right.
You know who you belong to.
Where was that
And
scripture?
I also want to say one thing to Deanna. Um, we've always been here, and we're not going anywhere. And people have gone away for a little bit, and then they come back, and they go away. But we don't change as a group or a unit. So you've always had something solid here. If you choose to go away and separate yourself from that, that's the choice you make. But you always can make that choice to come back too.
Yeah.
And we don't change in that. So
And that's the
you
best part about this group is that we ain't gonna change. We gonna be who, and this is why
right.
we've gotten back into where God had told me, He's like, I gave you this series, not because you're off, Gail, but He's like, I gave you this series, and now here we are. We're at For Real Ministries. He said, we're real. We're not going to sugarcoat nothing for you, Deanna, and lead you down this path and be like, it's all fluff and frill. No, listen, it's a dog eat dog world out there. But at some point, you got to have some friends that'll be like, we know it's tough out there. We ain't going to judge you in it. What do you need? How can we help you? Can we pray for you today? What is it that you need from us? We ain't going nowhere. Anyway, Gail, go ahead. I got to find the scripture.
Oh, I just wanted to put that out there because all you have to do is ping one of us, and we're here. When that came up the other day with Tarina, everybody, even people came out of the woodwork that you
Yeah.
hadn't
I
heard
know.
from in
But
a
see, that's
while.
the thing though. Like I don't communicate with you guys. I know Tarina's phone number, and Tarina, I've hit you up a couple times and you didn't respond. So
Really?
that yes, and that works too. That adds to my okay. So even when I go the faith way to get some advice, I find that nobody is available, and I'm not going to just keep calling and calling and calling. I ain't doing that. I put myself out there, and it was unsuccessful. So now I'm just going to go back over here and do me, how I do me. And that's just going to be that. I mean, I didn't know you guys changed the time to the group, and I was there a couple Sundays, and it's just like, hello, hello, nobody's coming. Okay, click that off.
No, there
So
was a
when you say
time
we're
that
always there, I never got the message that we changed into this time.
I did, and I have the receipt to show when you sent me a message on Messenger, and I had told you that we had changed it to 6 o'clock. So I sent you the link for
That was
6 o'clock.
today. I'm talking about several Sundays ago, though. Like several Sundays, I didn't know that this was what it was. And I'm not saying that there's fault because I have not been here, but Sunday's my day off. When I work 6 days a week, I'm sleeping till like noon on Sunday.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
and
let me
sorry for my light. Y'all
apologize
know how that goes.
if you have been missed, because that is not the premise of who we are and who I want to be. But I know that you and I had communication, and I remember you had asked me one day, and then I had told you that we had changed it to Sundays
I
at
asked you that
6.
today. I
No,
asked
that
you
was
that
a while
today.
back. I got the message. I remember it was a when we had came back to the group, because we had took a break, and then we had came back, and I remember you had asked me, and I said, well, we had changed it to 6 o'clock on Sundays now. I remember that. So I have the message, because I remember you and I had we had talked, and you had went and we had talked about something. I can't remember what was talked about. But I remember you had gave me a discussion in the messenger.
Okay. And you know what? Like to even try to figure out, yes, this did happen or this did not happen. What I live in, and it's not always my feelings, it's just more so a realization of when people go through, they'll pick up their phone and call me when they don't talk to me any other time, send me any other text messages, and I really am there. But I have found in my 53 years of life, there have been very few times where I knew I could pick up the phone and not just get somebody who's going to join my pity party while we're on the phone together and then go on back about their day, but to just actually be like, look, get it together. Or what can we do? It for me and what I've experienced. And it could just be the quality of emotional state of women that I've associated myself with, and that could be my fault. But at the same time, what I'm saying is in my life, to say I can pick up this person and call this person, and we could talk out this thing that I'm going through so they can help reset me. I have not found that. And over so many years, I just stopped looking for it. It's just like, well, who you gonna call? Because if they're always calling you to help them with their stuff, who are you going to call? And I said nobody. So I shut up. I will just stop talking. I'll stop it all.
So
But
today
it's
going
not something that
forward,
I liked.
yeah. So
It's not something that I liked.
let me ask you this. Today going forward, how can we be better at and I don't want to say helping or being present with Deanna? How can we as a unit in this group, how can we be better at being present with you? What can we do? Because I don't want us to dwell on what happened, how it did happen, and the conversation, like you said, today going forward, how can we be the women that you need today?
If I could give you an answer for that, I would, but I can't. I
Okay.
have no idea because a major part of me is just like, I ain't telling nobody nothing. I'm gonna keep
Mhm.
this all to myself. I don't trust people enough with my business,
Okay.
because when I do and I hear it later and I didn't tell you, then there's a problem for me.
Yeah.
So I just normally keep mine to myself, and to think, how can you ladies be there for me? I have no clue. I couldn't give you the first step of what I would need from you, because I live in that whole it's me.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just
But
me.
you're desiring and needing something because you're here. That's the
Well, I
way I
mean,
look
I
at it.
do.
You're in this group today, and So you must have gotten something out of it before.
I mean, I
And-
did,
and-
and I also like
Okay.
the word that comes.
Stop that because that was a personal moment that the peoples don't need to see. All right. Okay, so there was a scripture that we had went through, and I'm trying to remember where it was, where Jesus had told us, he said, if you just ask for help, I'm gonna help you. Okay. I'm gonna find it and then I'll text it to you guys. Like I said, I was gonna give y'all homework and I never checked it. Well, there it is. I'm learning. Okay. I'm getting better at my things. All right. So question number 2, I'm gonna go back to sharing my screen. Question number 2 is we found how we navigate through our scenarios. Okay. So we found that which perspective we navigate from. 9 times out of 10, we're navigating from that feeling, the sensation of a thing, the ability we experience the thing. And so if we think about what Deanna just experienced, she experienced this feeling and then she went into the fact of the matter. Fact of the matter is this is what's going on. Now I got to go into faith. So we all navigate through these 3 aspects of our areas in our lives differently. Some of us may go into facts. The fact of the matter is this is where I'm at. And then we go into the faith. And then we go into the feeling. Have you ever kind of gone backwards in the thing? But the fact of the matter is that I'm in this situation. And then we go into, the feeling. Now I feel less than myself, but then we go into faith mode. Or sometimes we're in the faith mode where I have the sheer confidence, then trust that I know that things are going to work out. And then we go into that feeling of, oh man, what if it doesn't? What if it doesn't work out? And well, the fact of the matter is this where it is. So we all navigate through our feelings differently. And so doing that, it says, what changes can you make today to help you live a life that's more consistently based on the truth of who you actually are? So when I had the situation on Saturday with my daughter last week, and it was a moment of I had to tell her who she was, and I had to navigate her through that feeling. And like I told her, 10 toes down. Let me tell you who I am. I'm never going to waver anything because you know why? Because it took me too long to get here. And so because it took me so long to get to this place, you honestly think that I'm going to allow a person to make me feel a certain kind of way and then have to navigate through that and then just stay in that feeling mode. What I found is this generation, they stay a lot in their feelings. Oof. So many of she's 18. So that generation, they stay a lot of in their feelings. They stay in a lot of, if a person says something to them, they just rocking in their feelings. They navigating through the feeling mode. They are never in the place of, then they go to, well, the fact of the matter is, or the faith, or they don't navigate through those things. They just stay right in their feelings. And so to try to navigate her around that, it was like, okay, so listen, when you know who you are, no one can ever make me feel a certain what kind of way. You can't say nothing bad about me. You can't throw things will come your way, but it's always that moment. And one of the things that when I had the situation, Gail called. She was the one who called me. She called me and she said, "Listen, hey, I'm gonna need you to get it together, okay? You can't." Because she knew who I was. And the reason she knew who I was is because the person who I showed up as when we started the group. So when we started the group, she was like, "Listen, I know who you are, but you got to know who you are in this thing." And so the 5 sum total of people, I was like, "Oh, look at this." So there was a moment a couple of weeks ago, when I asked Tara, "What's the scripture? Do you have a scripture for today?" It's like I know who you are in this thing. And so if I asked you the question, you got to stand 10 toes down and be like, "Listen, I don't care. I got to do what I got to do." But it was in the moment where Gail knew that I was wavering in the feeling of a thing. Like I wanted to I just wanted to just give in and just let her have it so she can get off my tail. But she said, "Trina, I know who you are." And because she knew who I was, she had the faith in me to say, "You got this. You can do this, girl. You got this. Don't you fret nothing." And so I had to stand in that and know that I had to know who I was. So we went into this, I was in this class, like I said, last week, all week, with Eric Thomas and CJ Quinley, and it was another guy. But it was mainly Eric Thomas and CJ. And so we're having this discussion, and in the 5 days, it was like this person, this woman that I know that I am, she came out full force. And, there was a time, I could do a live, I can go do a TikTok, I can do all that. But this is around people that I didn't know. Like, even though I don't know the people on TikTok, I know the people that are going to see it. But there's like massive people out there. And so I don't think about a TikTok because I'm thinking it's just like I'm just sharing the information and it's whatever. But when you've been with these people for 5 days, and you really kind of sense, like, are they going to be judgmental? Because here's the thing that I know, and I just seen this today in the group. One of the ladies had made a comment. There was one of the students, and she had posted a comment, and she said something about the church or something. And people say, well, I just want to serve the community. She said, but when they really think about it, she said, are they really serving the community? Like, why are they here? Because when they're talking about serving the community, it's like she doesn't see that people are serving the community. It's just like this talk that they give. And I wanted to respond to it so bad. I wanted to give my little dissertation or my little input of it and, my opinion on that. But when you know who you are, I don't have to question anything that a person does. All I'm looking at is my abilities and my capabilities. I'm not thinking about, is Tangi out there doing what she's supposed to be doing? Is Gail doing what is Zakia doing? Is Tara doing? I'm not worried about that. What I'm worried about is, if I'm serving the community, let me serve the community in the capacity that God has given it to me, and let me do it. Well, there was this man, and he responded. And when I say he responded, he was like, and he asked her, well, why are you here? And I thought, oh God, this is about to be tough. And as I'm reading it, I saw this dialogue that was about to go back and forth. And I said, this is about to get tough. And I know, just seeing the person that Eric Thomas is, he's not about the mess. He don't do the mess. He don't do none of that. And I thought, oh, this is about to get messy. This is about to get, ooh. And to have the dialogue with the person, to go back and forth with a person about who I am and what I'm bringing. And remember, I was telling you guys about there was that saying where people say, well, Deanna, what you bringing to the table? Tangi, what
I
you bringing
am
to
the
the table?
table.
Now, this is what I said. And I said, we cannot be the table when God said, I have prepared a table before you in the presence of your enemy, meaning the table's already been prepared. I am bringing my gifts, my talent, my prayer, my intellect, my 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 conversation, my abilities, my strategies. I'm bringing my all of the thing, all the person that I am. So when it says the changes that you can make to know who you truly are, the table's already been done. So if a man ever asked me, and I said this when I researched it, and I said, well, God, now you said that you have already prepared the table before us in the presence of our enemies. You said you prepared the table before us in the presence of our enemy. So that means that table is already done. That means all I got to do is sit down and then give that which I already have, right? So I said, okay, so now who am I? And when I sit down at the table, so this is what I want you guys to do. Just think about, when you sit down at a table, what are you bringing? That is what a man is asking. What are you bringing? You can bring, and it's not about money, but it's like, I'm bringing my capabilities. I'm bringing my strategies. I'm bringing my prayer life. I'm bringing my study life. I'm bringing my my conversation. I'm bringing articulation. I'm bringing communication. I'm bringing strength. I'm bringing a thing that I can birth out something. What do you got? I got ideas. God has given me witty ideas. That's what he said. So I'm bringing that to you. I am bringing the thing that's going to give birth to the idea that God said that you had within you. So I am bringing the whole incumbent of a woman. That means when you talk about a Proverbs 31 woman, and this is where women kind of miss the mark. Well, I am the table, or I made the table. No, no, you did not, because he said, God said. And when he checked me on that, I was like, uh-oh, God, now wait a minute. He said, the table's already done. Now it's like the meal. What are you bringing? What are you bringing to the table? Because when you're thinking about like, and the reason it came to me was I deal with a lot of women in, at my vocation, my occupation. So in my occupation, I deal with a lot of women that when I'm hearing the story, I'm thinking, man, and you got a boyfriend and you're married and you and I'm like, wow, and y'all are struggling like that? As a woman, we should be able to take a seed and say, I'm going to take the seed. When you think about Keisha K, or just study Keisha K, or when what's his name? What's her husband's name? Gucci Man. Gucci Man went to jail. And he gave Keisha Kayor a certain amount of money. Keisha Kayor took that money and she has made it become millions. And she said they had a little a reality show, Maine something, whatever. But in the story, she had said she had let me give it to you. One lipstick that created the empire that she's sitting on right now. One. Gucci Man went to jail. She rocked with that man. She did whatever. But I think they said that he had gave her a certain amount of money, and she took that money, made one lipstick, that little shiny lipstick that she got, created one lipstick. I think she said it was the blue lipstick. She created one lipstick, and that one lipstick has now made her go into a capacity. What are you going to say, Zakia?
I think he gave her 3 million. She brought him back 6. He went to jail, gave her
Don't
3,
he sing about that?
and
He
gave
has
her
a
back. Brought her back 6. She brought him back 6 or something like that.
Yeah, from one lipstick. That one lipstick, she turned into a whole empire.
That's
That
in a song of his, isn't it?
I don't know. I don't really listen. I like Gucci Man, but I like him as the backup, like
Yeah, she
he's
flipped the
added
money
to it.
that he left her. He didn't trust leaving his money with nobody else. He trusted her, and she flipped the money.
Yeah, I
Deanna, you
think
want to
he
flip
sang
your
about that.
screen?
Who, me?
Yeah, we see your bedroom. Oh, there you
Oh,
go. Oh, there
yeah,
you go.
those are my clothes. Hold on.
No, you're
A
good.
whole bunch of things that need to go away.
But yeah, so that when you think, and when she said it, she was like, I had one lipstick when she started. She said, I had one whole lipstick. She took 3 million, and now they are sitting on millions of dollars. I don't know if they're billionaires yet, but they are sitting on millions. So when you think about the capacity of who you are, based on the truth of who you are, how can you make a change today to say that I am the chef? I am the coach, the life coach. I am based on that, how can you make changes? What changes can you guys make today to help you live a life that's more consistently based on the truth of who you actually are? Because when you know who you are, these things, you'll know how to navigate through them so fast. Where you may, like there are times when when that day I had to call because I was like, oh, I don't even know I don't know how to navigate through this. Am I wrong for this? Because it was in the moment they were making me feel like I was wrong. Well, just let her have the party and the love. And I was like, well, no, I can't, man, because I know that there's got to be some consequences to this. And I know that because I know that's how I was raised. So making that phone call, it was like out of all, Gail was like, hey, listen. She was like, I didn't even want to text it to you. I wanted to call you so you can hear my voice tell you, Trina, you know who you are. Why are you wavering in this? Get it together. And this is like the broken down message is how she told me. It was like, get it together and go and do what you got to do. And if you need anything, call me back and I got you. But don't sit over there and wavering. sitting and waver in that feeling of feeling like I was like a bad mom, or I was being mean, or I was doing. She was like, girl, get out of your feelings and go ahead and do what you got to do. And if you need some help, you call me. So I'm gonna go from the bottom to the top again. Miss Tara's at the bottom. And you know why it happens this way is because you guys have your screens off. And so that's why it's happening. All right, so I'm just going to randomly select a person. Tara. Well, look at that. Here she is. What are some changes you can make today to help you live a life that's more consistently based on the truth of who you actually are? You are, the truth of you is, and you got to really know who you are in this.
You're dragging or I'm dragging? Ask me again.
What changes can you make today to help you live a life that's more consistently based on the truth of who you actually are?
What can I do?
What changes can you make?
Definitely going within myself and looking at the mirror. So the reflection that I get, seeing those things in me that keep me from being who I know that I am. So affirming myself, really calling myself, I guess, calling myself out and telling myself, okay, enough is enough. Be who you know that you are. And healing. That's dealing with the healing.
Mhm.
Dealing with what causes me to be the way that I am.
Yes.
So that's what.
Let's see who's next. I think it's little Miss Brianna. Brianna.
Hey, changes I can make is be praying more, being consistent with God.
All right. Miss Gail.
Can you say that again? Because I get confused so what can I do to change to be the person that I need to be?
Says, what changes can you make today to help you live a life that's more consistently based on the truth of who you actually are?
Well, I think one thing is set those goals and to um, create like a schedule because I'm a very unscheduled person.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a flip-flopper. I would do it one day, maybe the second day, but the third day, oops, suddenly something changed. And there's a lot of people who are on routines and I'm not.
Yeah.
And if I would just start in the mornings and start with my meditations and journaling, I know that my days are much better when I do that and I flow much better, but I don't do that every day.
Yeah.
And why don't I? You know?
We'll get into that in a minute. Gotta
And
answer.
I'm gonna leave it right there then.
All right.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Miss Tangela, I don't know if you are able to talk.
Yeah, I'm able to talk.
Okay. So the first question that we had from what perspective do you live your life? And so we have these three here. It says feelings, faith, and fact. So when we talked about feelings, and I give you the definition of them so you can kind of like be more in understanding. Feelings are the emotional state or reaction. It's a sensitive or sympathetic. And then the second definition is the ability to experience physical sensation, or it's an awareness or a sensation. So we are aware that something has happened to me. Okay, God, something has happened. Then we get to faith, and faith is this unquestioning belief. It is complete trust or confidence in a thing or a God. Then we get to facts. Facts is a thing known or proven to be true. It is a thing that has actually happened or true. It is a state of things that's as the reality of the truth. Okay, so in the reality of where you're at right now, From which perspective do you live your life most of the time? Is it in your feelings? Is it in your faith? Or is it in the fact of right now I know this to be true?
I live in feelings,
Ooh,
most certain. I
oh,
live in my emotions. I live in my feelings. I feel other people's sympathy. I do too
Mhm.
much. I take on too many people energy. So it's definitely my feelings. And what can I do to improve where I need to be, or what I think that consistency, like she said, organization. And I think that with me is self-believing in who I am and knowing that I can have the capabilities of doing all things through Christ itself. And I need to believe that because he believed in me. So I needs to believe in me like he believed in me.
absolutely. Oh, I believe in you, girl.
Thank you.
So Zakia, what is a change that you can make today to live the life that's more consistently based on the truth of who you actually are?
Um, First of all, I need to be consistent. I ain't consistent worth for nothing.
Okay.
Then I have to learn how to stop going off the beaten path. I'll be playing with spirit from time to time.
Oh.
Yeah. I be want to do my own thing.
And he said, no, why is she going over there? Why is she going that
Yeah.
way? She just keep doing her own thing. Eventually you'll be back.
Yeah, I do.
All right.
I be want to be irresponsible. I just be want to go.
Oh gosh.
Hey, I'm gonna be a. I'm gonna be a good citizen.
Of the faith of the kingdom of heaven.
Yeah.
You're hilarious. All right, Miss Deanna.
Well, first of all, I'm still grappling
Okay.
with who I am.
Okay.
Um, I believe I'm a writer. I believe that with everything in me. That's why I be collecting old dead people's books.
Mm,
But I don't write consistently.
okay.
I used to love to write longhand. Now I don't. So I've kind of lost my flow on how I get down with that. And I want to get back to it because I really do believe I am a writer and I know some really awesome people with some amazing stories. And I'm going to be the author of their book.
Okay.
So, what do I need to do? Be more consistent. I need to start with a computer. I need to get a computer because I no longer like um writing
Writing. Yeah.
longhand.
Yeah.
When before that was my thing. I loved it. I loved it. But now I'm not so much.
hmm
And I also want to be more consistent with my personal schedule,
Okay.
as opposed to waking up, handling things before I leave to make sure they're done when I get home. Um, just having my space in a different space because I feel like when it's cluttered, my brain is cluttered and I have a lot of stuff in here that doesn't need to be in here that's not serving me.
Mhm.
So, just things of that nature, being more mindful of me, what I need, my space. Like I'll do my self-care, but it's not to the whole sum of how it should be.
Right.
So I cut myself short.
Yeah.
So I want to start giving myself the whole part of me and exploring the whole part of me. And I believe once I really settle with who I am,
hmm
everything changes.
That's good. I love that to what you just said about being the whole part of you. Like I gotta give me me. And whatever that takes, it means that's what I gotta do. So while I was in the class, I took wonderful, wonderful notes. Like the first 4 days, and then the fifth day, I was like, oh my gosh. Um, because kind of like the fifth day was kind of like we were just, you know. So one of the things that CJ Quinley had talked about in the session was this thing right here. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen because there's no more on that thing. Okay, so one of the things that a lot of people asked. So in this whole entire session, there was like 600 people. Can you imagine 600 people in this Zoom meeting right now? Can you
No.
imagine? Couldn't imagine. So 600 and some odd people are in this this group, and very faith-filled. I mean, when I say word, Eric Thomas gives you word, and then he gives you it's I was just like, oh, this is me. Like this is the male version of me. Eric Thomas they give you word. CJ, on the other hand, is like, no, I don't, that's not who I am. But they still rock together. CJ's like, I give you strategies. The word, he's like, I'm a Catholic. I don't know. We get into church 45 minutes and we gone. You know, when you think about Eric Thomas, he's the pastor, right? So said all that to say, there was a question that was asked that was similar to this, where people, like, we had a Q&A at the end. And one of the people, I asked them, how did you guys get to this place? And I'm going to give you guys this, and I want you to understand. There was a thing that I had said in the prayer on Wednesday night, because Wednesday night I was in this group. And so I was like, oh God, what do I do? Now, day 2, because Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So day 2, they had talked about being, it's a non-negotiable. Now, you know how many times that we have, and I'm like, well, we can't come to group today because I'm tired. And, you know, and we're missing so much. CJ said this, it's a non-negotiable. It's non-negotiable. He said, I got to think about things. He said, if we had a not said, if I had not said it within me to say it's a non-negotiable, I got to do what I got to do. Right. So he said, whatever I'm going to accomplish, it is a non-negotiable. He said the same way. And he asked the guy, it was a guy that had asked this question. And he said, well, do you get up and brush your teeth every day? And the guy said, yeah, every day. No question. He said, no question, right? No question. You get up and you brush your teeth every day. And the guy said, yeah. He said, so let me tell you this. He said, the same way you get up and you have the wherewithal to brush your teeth, the same way we get up and get dressed and go to work. He said, that's a non-negotiable. He said, it's non-negotiable for you to get up and brush your teeth, right? So it's a non-negotiable for you to get up and do the things that you say you want to do. It's a non-negotiable, Deanna, for to give the best part of yourself. It's a non-negotiable. So Wednesday, I was thinking, so we're running into time, and I'm looking at the clock, and I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at the clock, and I was like, God, what do I do? So there in the Q&A, God said, take yourself off screen. So I closed out my screen and I put my thing up, and I just went and I said, I'm just going to give them the prayer. I'm going to record it, and then I'm going to send it to them, and then non-negotiable. Whether I'm there or not, it's a non-negotiable. I got to do what I got to do. So remember when I told you guys there are some days that I just don't want to be here. I didn't want to be here on the Sunday, God. I just didn't want to do it on Sunday morning. Eric Thomas said the same thing. He said, there were some I didn't want to do it. And so, you know what CJ told him? His friend said, man, you ain't got to be there every Sunday. He said, just record them and then produce them on the Sunday or on the Monday. Because they had, thank God it's Monday. He said, you ain't got to be there every Monday. He said, just record it and then put it out there on Monday. Just have the backup. And so what they said is, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. I had a pastor, Pastor Burleson, used to tell us that. He said, when you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. So if you stay cooking, Tara, you ain't got to get ready. If you stay doing your videos, you ain't got to get ready, because somebody going to ask you, well, girl, how did you make that? You got the recipe already there. I did 2 tablespoons of this. I did this. I did that. You ain't got to get ready. You want to be a writer, just start writing and just start doing what you got to do. Because when you're ready, you ain't got to get, he said, they said it, and I wrote it down. He said, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. You stay prayed up. You ain't got, nobody got to come in here and be like, well, can you do a prayer? And then people be fumbling over their prayer. You ain't, I'm always ready, because that's my thing. That's what I do. I know that's what I do. That's who I am. I'm an intercessor. I am a prayer warrior. That's it. And I said, well, God, okay. Then if I'm going to do it, then it's a non-negotiable for me. It's a non-negotiable to make sure that I show up here on a Wednesday and a Sunday. Non-negotiable. Why? Because I know that at some point it's going to help y'all. It's helping. It helped us to where we got here in 2.5 years and the level of where we are. And I thought, well, God, now listen, if I could do this in 5 days, just change the person that I was in 5 days, I can imagine what's going to happen to me in a year. Okay. So he said, just because you can do a thing, he said, it doesn't mean that you should. Now, what he said, and this was so profound, what CJ said, I think there was something that CJ said they had asked him. And he said, well, just because I can, that don't mean that I should. Oh, being a teacher. So CJ had quit his job. He's like, I'm not, because he was a substitute teacher because they were like trying to get money and they were both at Michigan State. And all of this came from Michigan State. So they were at Michigan State. And so CJ had said he had went and got a part-time job as a teacher, a substitute teacher. And he said Eric had called him and he said, okay. And so he said, Eric had been calling him. Eric said, I was kept wondering, like every time I call him, he said, there's some kids in the background. He's like, well, what is going on? So CJ told him, he said, man, I had to go get a little part-time job. And CJ said, Eric told him, man, quit that job. Just go ahead and quit the job. He said, just because you can't teach, that don't mean you need to be there. What are you doing? He said, man, come on back over here and do what we got to do. And so them coming together, it created this thing. And that's the thing. It's a non-negotiable for you to get up and pray. It's a non-negotiable, Tara, for you to get in that kitchen and create that ebook. It's a non-negotiable. It's a non-negotiable, Zakia, for you to get out there and print some shirts. It's a non-negotiable. It's a non-negotiable, Brianna, for you to get up and do the things that it's a non-negotiable. Whatever it is, whatever you want to accomplish, it's a non-negotiable. So I sat down, I did the prayer, and I've sent it. And that's what I recorded it, I uploaded it, and I sent it. And I said, well, God, is real fast. He said, but it's a non-negotiable. It's a non-negotiable for me. It's a non-negotiable. So when we think about, someone had asked a question too in the group, and they had asked, like, how do I find my gift? Because, everybody talks about that. Well, what am I know they come to these classes. Now, you done paid all this, I don't want to say all this money, but we had, there was like, it was free. And then there was like this 47 where you can get in the VIP, and the VIP gave you the Q&A. So we would go through the call, and then all the other people that were free got off, and then we did the Q&A. So someone had asked about finding their gift, because I know that's one of the things that, excuse me, is hard for people. It's a difficult thing for them to really know, who am I? And trying to find your gift and move in the gift and operate in it. People are showing up because they know that there's something that I got to do. Like, I know that there's something in me. Sorry, there was a big old noise. But it's finding your gift. And so he said, finding your gift and staying authentic to it. He said, what comes to you easy, what comes to you that is easy for you is harder for others. Best message I had ever got. I said, boy, it's easy for me to pray. Because I hear people be like, well, you just pray. It's hard for me. To me, it's easy. That's like a part of my everyday vocabulary. I could be sitting here talking to somebody and just get into this, but God, we just thank you, and start praying, because that's just what's in me. He said, what comes easy to you is harder to most. And he said, ask yourself, God, am I the right person for this thing? He said, it has nothing to do with the idea, but it has everything to do with the person executing the idea. Has everything to do with who's executing the idea. Has nothing to do with the ebook. It has to do with the person executing the ebook. Has nothing to do with the t-shirts. Who's executing the idea for the t-shirts? Again, has nothing to do with being a food critic. Had everything to do with Keith Lee sitting down saying, I'm finna execute, and I'm finna just taste some food, and we finna rate it 1 through 10. Changed that boy's whole entire life. Had nothing to do with Tabitha Brown being a vegan, had everything to do with the execution of what she said she was going to do. She ate a sandwich, the sandwich blew her up. Now she's sitting up on a live and she's making all these meals, showing people how to be a vegan, showing them the recipes. Nothing to do with that. There's another lady that's out there too that was talking about her dad. And the reason why she became a vegan was because of her dad. Her dad was sick. And so she created this whole recipe and this regimen for her daddy because her dad was ill. And she said, there has to be a way. When you think about the idea, there has to be a way for me to be able to change the lives of people, Tara, but also feed them at the same time. The duality of a thing. I can feed you the physical food, but what about the spiritual food? You know, Tangela, now it's like you're an empath. I feel you. So how can I take the feeling of a thing and move it into the realm of God to make sure that it's taken care of? How can I take the feeling and feeling? I used to be that too. When I get on the elevator, I remember I got on the elevator with this guy and oh God, I felt the sadness. And I was like, why am I so sad? Had someone told me who I was then, man, but like you feel you just the empathy. It just reeks off of you. That's why we move in our feelings more. But now we got to get it balanced. So yeah, I move with my feelings, but let me pray for you. And not everybody requires prayer. Not everybody does it, not out loud. Sometimes it's just, and sometimes there's a word that needs to be given to people, Miss Tangela. But that's why when we say consistently, it's a non-negotiable for me to be consistent. It's a non-negotiable for me to find a way to be organized. It's a non-negotiable for me. It's a non-negotiable for me to get up every day and do this thing. It's non-negotiable. That's why I said I gave myself 5 months. Before I had even talked to y'all in October, I said I got 5 months because I had given my kids 5 months. I had to give myself 5 months because in the interim of their 5 months, what was I going to be doing? I have to build the thing. And so I had talked about my backyard. You remember my backyard? And so there was a person that was on the call and they were talking about, when you get frustrated and you just frustrated because you're like, I just don't know. And all I heard God say is like a woman when she's pregnant and she has to give birth to a thing. Y'all got to give birth to these things, these visions, these businesses, these ideas. You got to give birth to these things. And so when you're walking in the frustration, think about when we was pregnant. We was at 39 weeks. Or we was at 37 weeks. We was at 38. We knew 40 weeks was it. We knew 40 weeks was a countdown. We just knew, baby, we finna give birth. We knew, but we started getting frustrated because now this baby's moving. Now I'm eating more. Now I'm going to the bathroom more. Now I'm doing this. Now I'm all emotional. I'm crying. I'm just doing this. He said, but you got to give birth to that thing. How many times have we sat up and we've cried because we like, God, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. I don't know how this is supposed to happen. It's like the baby is just nudging you, is telling you got to give birth to it. You cannot keep holding on to this baby thinking it's going to go another term. He said, no, 40 weeks and that's it. So you got to give birth. Now it is the time to give birth to the thing that God has put inside of you. What is the thing? What is the seed? Now they called it. But what are you giving birth to? What's the seed? And I'm going to call it a seed. I'm not even going to call it it. What is the seed that God put inside you that you need to give birth to? That is making you frustrated, irritated, pissed off at everybody. You remember how it was? We was hot, walking around here just waddling, feet swole up. We can't put our shoes on, can't get up out of bed. Now, sometimes they put us on bed rest because now we're going through this, our blood pressure is getting high. Y'all remember being pregnant? If y'all remember, they got to put you on bed rest. Now, bed rest, when we think about bed rest with God, he's like, no, so now you need to go sit down and be by yourself. That means you don't do anything. But you just got to sit and wait for this baby to do what it needs to do. And when it's time for it to come, don't try to have this baby no sooner or no later than what I tell you to have it. So that means you need to go sit down to stop the bleeding, the internal bleeding. When you think about a person that's on bed rest, sometimes there's internal bleeding. Sometimes there's something that's happening. He's like, no, now go sit down so we can stop that. They give you medication. The medication, God is give me my daily bread. Give me sustenance, God, so I can keep, I guess I got to hold on to this. But it is time, y'all, to give birth to the things that God is saying, that he has put inside of you. If you don't know what that is, listen, God, what is it? Am I the right person to be the writer of these people's stuff? Am I the right person to be the nurse? God, am I the right person? Am I the right person to be able to do this thing right here day to day, week after week? Am I the right person to pray for these people? God, am I the right person? Am I the right person that's going to create this book for these people so they know how to eat and get the word of God at the same time? Am I the right person that's going to be giving out these t-shirts? Am I the right person for the thing that you said, God? So then they said, prioritize yourself. Now, Deanna even just said it. Now, that was a confirmation of what God had already told her. Prioritize yourself. It says, don't forget to do what you're supposed to do for yourself. You owe you. So if you read that book by Eric Thomas, it's called You Owe. They said you owe it to you, to yourself, not to nobody else. We don't owe anything that God has given us. The seed that we got, I don't owe that to nobody. That's the seed that God gave me. He gave me the seed of being a intercessor and a prayer coach and all that. That's what he gave me. I don't know where prayer coach came from, but that just came out real fast. But that's what he gave me. I don't owe that to nobody. So when we talk about standing 10 toes down, 10 toes down, I don't owe nobody nothing. That's why they say, "Oh, no man, nothing save the debt of love." The only thing I owe you is love, and that's it. I'm going with my life. They said there's no such thing as a bad decision. You just haven't met the right person yet. So there's no such thing as a bad decision. That we don't make bad decisions. We just haven't met the right person to help us strategize to get us out of the situation that we're in. Right? So think it not strange that we were all in a hole at one point, and now here we are 2.5 years later, and we are like coming to ourselves and we're finding who we really are. Okay. So it says, be authentic in your gift. Be your authentic self from the beginning. And this is what I wrote for myself. I have to be my authentic self from the beginning until the end. And it says the work will eventually catch up to you. Okay. What does it mean to be your authentic self? What does that look like? Being confident, for me, is being confident, but being the right person in the confidence that you're given. So negotiable, when I say non-negotiable, so when we get back to the non-negotiable, when CJ said that, he's like, it's a non-negotiable for me. He said, when you look up the word negotiable, he said, it's an open to discussion or a modification. So it's like when you are negotiable, like, well, you can negotiate. Well, here's what I've been doing. So I set my alarm for 5 o'clock in the morning. Okay. But I negotiate. Then here comes 5:30. Then here comes 6 o'clock. Then here comes 6:30. So I'm negotiating with myself like, well, girl. And so when I wake up, I have to tell myself, Tarina, get up. Let's get up. It's a non-negotiable for me now. I got to get up. But I would negotiate because I was open for discussion or modification. I can modify 5:30. I think I can get up at such. I'm not wearing my makeup as like I used to, so I think I can get up at 5:30. I can get up. Then here comes 5:30, 6 o'clock. I can get up at 6 o'clock. It's a non-negotiable for me now. 5 o'clock. I got to get up, and I have to tell myself to get up. So they said there's no excuse in your success. You can't walk your way into being unsuccessful with successful excuses. This took me back. He says you cannot walk your way to being they said you can walk your way to being unsuccessful with successful excuses. How many of us have had successful excuses? Well, today I'm just tired. I just didn't want to do. And we've got the most greatest excuses. And that's leading us to be unsuccessful. So they gave us the homework. So we had homework, and he gave us 3 non-negotiables. So I'm going to do like CJ, and I'm going to give you guys, I want you to give me 3 non-negotiables, 3 things that you are going to stick to no matter what. Your 3 non-negotiables. For me, I said I'm going to put out content every Sunday. Have I done it yet? No. And I want to meditate and pray every day for 1 hour. And there was another thing that I said I was going to do. But they said the reason you cannot stick to a routine is because you value immediate gratification more than you do the sustained success.
Mm.
Ain't that crazy? You know how people be like, I'm gonna go on a diet. We can't be consistent because we're ready for the immediate, and I call them microwave moments. That, well, I'm gonna exercise for 10 minutes. In 10 minutes, I'm gonna see a result. No. You're waiting for that instant gratification, that moment of, well, I juiced today, and so I should be cleansed. No. You know what I'm saying? Have you ever felt like I juiced? And they're like, that ain't nothing. You ready for the instant gratification and not the long term. And one thing I said, I wrote it down somewhere and I can't remember where I wrote it, but it said that some people want they want I have to find it. Then they talked about your giants. They talked about a lot of things. But it was well worth it. I will say that the person that I became in just 5 days, I literally, on my last video, my last live, that I don't know what happened to it. I don't think it uploaded, but on my last live, oh, and then so there was a lady named Mignon on there, and this lady took $5. And I wish Tara could have heard her. She took $5, five whole dollars. Someone came and asked her to make a cake. She took $5, went to the store, and she didn't have nothing. She's like, we were losing our house. Matter of fact, let me see if I can go to it. Hold on, y'all. Let me find it. But I'm gonna give you like the synopsis. She said that she took her last $5, the last five that she had, and she went to someone had came and asked her to make a cake. And she said, I went and made the cake. And she was like, God, that's all I got. That's the last $5 I got. And she made a cake, and now she has uh, a successful $1 million business, 10 million. I'm sorry, $10 million business where she made some cakes, where she has a bakery. Let me find it. Hold on, y'all. Don't go nowhere. Hold on. Let me find it. Let me see if I can find this video. Don't y'all go nowhere. Just stay right there, okay? Okay. Can you guys hear it?
No.
You guys can't hear it?
I can't.
Uh-oh. Can anybody else hear it? Nobody?
I can't hear it.
You can't?
Can't hear it.
Okay, I'm trying to figure out how to do this. Art.
Hey, can I say while you're looking for that,
Mhm.
the part that you said about, oh shoot, what was it? Uh, Basically about being consistent with our beliefs.
Mhm.
I've said I'm a writer, shoot, for at least the past 20, 30 years, my entire career at the post office,
Mhm.
honestly.
Mhm.
And I go to writing, and I loved longhand writing. Um, and then I stopped liking longhand writing. So I basically stopped writing.
Mhm.
And then I have all these excuses as to why I haven't gotten back up on it. And people begin to ask me, when you gonna write a book? When you gonna write that book?
Mhm.
When is that book coming? And I'm thinking, why you care? You know what I'm saying? Like, what does it have to do with you? Because one,
Right.
it's not your business. We're not friends like that, that you should feel comfortable asking me these personal questions.
Mhm.
And how do you even know? And I hadn't planned on writing a book about you. So why you care?
Mhm.
But at the same time, it's just like, um, even though they didn't know and they weren't part of my vision, the fact that they brought it up to me
Mm-hmm.
made me be like, well, why aren't you?
Right.
What really is your problem? What really is keeping you from moving forward and just saying, well, my computer, well, you know what? There's options past that computer that you have. So I made and keep making excuses as to why I did not.
Wow.
But I can no longer make those excuses because it seems like daily I feel this whole heaviness because I have not and not like completed a book, but completely even started. You know, like I'll start it, but you know, even before the introduction is over, I'm on to something different.
Yeah.
And that's
She's like,
really
I'm
not,
done.
yeah, it's not conducive for me. And I know it's
Mm-hmm.
not conducive for me. So when I have to get up the next morning and go to this postal service,
Mm-hmm.
it's just like dread and regret and
Yep.
odd and just all these other feelings and what is it going to look like today, and I hope I don't have to carry 3 hours. But then when they
Mm-hmm.
say no overtime for you, it's like, wait, I need this money.
Right. But then there's
So
another option that they're giving you, and they're just like, well, there's a book that's supposed to be there. And so remember, I said, when we get into, being parents, when we were pregnant, you know how irritated we were because we wanted to give birth to this thing? I'm ready for this thing to come.
right.
Like we know that there's a baby. We know it's a boy or a girl. We know it's coming. We've walked around 9 months with this baby in our belly. We know 39 weeks is coming. And sometimes the babies come early, and sometimes they don't. But it's just like that nagging, that push. It's just like, come on, Dan, let's push this book out. Let's push the writing out, push it out because it's a non-negotiable. It to
It
me right
is.
now at this point, I got 4 months. And back when I started this in October, I told ladies, y'all got 5 months. We got 5 months to get our gifts out. And so when things start to happen in the maturation season in springtime, that which we planted now, can you imagine what would happen in 5 months if we just been consistent? So now we know consistency is a non-negotiable. It's non-negotiable for me to be consistent. I got to be consistent. I got to give birth to this thing. I got to consistently do what I need to do. So what does that look like? So the three non-negotiables, that's what I want you to figure out. What is it? What's the thing that's non-negotiable? Even if you go on a lunch and you sit and you write for an hour, 30 minutes, give yourself 15. I don't know. What are those three non-negotiables that's going to get you to that place where you're sowing the seed? Because that what we do right now, that is going to be the thing that's going to grow in March.
Hmm.
So I want you, we're going to do that. We're going to find the three non-negotiables. I was trying to find that scripture. I don't know. But this thing, I don't know why you can't hear it. And I don't know what to do so that you can hear it. I don't know how to navigate through this. But anyway, I wonder if I can create a video. Oh, and she is still. Oh, because you can hear it in my thing. Hold on. So it's in my ear. Uh, hold on, let me see. Speaker. Same system as this. Okay, can y'all still hear me?
Yeah, but maybe
Yeah.
try muting yourself and playing it.
Yeah, I'm
Maybe
gonna
that.
do that. Hold on, let me see. Uh-oh, I done locked. Oh, took off the video. Hold on. Let's see. Okay, let me go back to the thing, share my screen, share, and then I'm gonna go here. And then I'm gonna mute myself. Where is myself? I'm gonna
Nope.
Can you hear it? No? No?
No.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
No, I can't hear it.
Who can hear it? Nobody can hear it?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I can't.
Fart. I gotta figure this out. All right, I'm gonna stop sharing. But anyway, this is the lady. Her name is Francois. Mignon Francois, and she owns. I think if you look her up on Instagram, she owns a business that she started with $5, $5 whole, and that $5 had turned into 10 million because she was just like, I wanted it as bad. And you know that when you hear Eric Thomas talking about that story about how if you want it as do you want it as bad as you can breathe? Do you want the life that you say you want to have as bad as you can breathe? Every day you get up, it's a non-negotiable to breathe. It's a non-negotiable that we get up and we go to work. It's a non-negotiable that we get up and we do the things that we do. It's a non-negotiable. But do you want it as bad enough as you can breathe? Do you want it as bad enough as that you say? It's a non-negotiable. So finding those three non-negotiables, you guys are, we talk about being consistent. What are some things that'll help you be consistent? What are some non-negotiables that'll help you be consistent? What are some non-negotiables that'll help you get into, removing the items from your place? What are some non-negotiables that'll get you organized? What are some things that'll help you from going off the beaten path? What are some non-negotiables that'll help you get in your meditation? What are the non-negotiables? I set a timer. I got a timer on my phone every hour, starting at 5 o'clock in the morning up until 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Those are my non-negotiables. As soon as that alarm goes off, I stop instantly what I'm doing and I get into this meditative state. Now, when we think about meditation, people be thinking you got to sit for 10, 15 minutes. No, 5 minutes is all it takes for you to close your eyes, take a deep breath, and visualize where you say you want to go. And then speak the affirmation over your life. So they have made a comment about feelings. No, about speaking. You find it. Hold on.
Deanna, you can come do my narratives at work because I hate writing.
I'll be there tomorrow.
I got 4 of them I have to have done this week. And I have to be in a mindset to do them. With no distractions.
Yep. So those things I set timers on my phone. Like I have them from, like I said, from 5 o'clock in the morning up until 6 o'clock in the afternoon. There's always this reminder of me getting into meditation and sitting and saying, okay, I gotta just let me get into the thought and see myself where I say I want to go. Let's see. There were, let me see, I gotta find where they were talking about where you're using your words. Where is it that he was talking about? They were talking about words.
Tara keeps smiling at me. Why?
Who?
Tara.
Is she on? I thought she
It's her picture. She's just
oh,
smiling at everybody. Here she
I'm
comes.
sorry. What y'all say?
Mic off. You just keep smiling at me over there. Do you hear me?
I'm trying
I'm
to
getting
find that.
tired.
Okay, we're about to go because it's 8 o'clock my time. So they gave like these things, but the one thing I want you guys to take away from this is it's just to be simple. Whatever you're going to do, whatever you're going to accomplish, it is a non-negotiable The same way we get up and we shower and we take care of everything the day to day. If you could just think about that one thing, because when he asked the guy, he said, "Do you brush your teeth every day?" And the guy was like, "Yeah." He was like, "It's a non-negotiable for you, right? That's something that you know to do every day. Non-negotiable for you to have your breath, to brush your teeth." So that non-negotiable, whatever you guys are trying to accomplish in the day to day, whatever it is, make it a non-negotiable. So find your 3 non-negotiables and say, if I want to be consistent, what does that look like? It's a non-negotiable for me to not finish a project, because one thing I do is I start a thing and then I'll go to something else, or I don't finish. I'm not a finisher. So I just go here and then I'll go to the next thing and I go to the next thing. And so I remember when I was cleaning my room and I was cleaning the house and I said, "Well, God, where do I start?" And he said, "Just start. But when you start with that thing, finish that thing." So I started in my room and I finished my room, and then I went to the next task and I went to the next task. So what I do now is I set non-negotiables. Like for me, it's and I didn't even realize that's what I was doing. But I set like, okay, if I start on doing something at work, I don't go to anything else until I finish that one thing at hand. Then I go to the next thing. So home is the same. I will not finish, I will start a thing. And if I'm starting it, I'm not going to do anything until I finish it. So business now looks like if I start a video, I'm not going to do anything else. I'm going to finish the one business and then I'm going to go to the next thing. And then I'm going to go to the next thing. Getting organized, what does that look like? How do I practice organizing? What's the non-negotiable for those things? What is the non-negotiable for me going off the beaten path? I'm finding I'm going off the beaten path. So what's a non-negotiable to get me back on track? It's a non-negotiable that I'm going to go and I'll scroll. I promise you, I'm a scroller. I'll be on TikTok and just be scrolling, just to be scrolling, just scrolling. It's a non-negotiable. I will no longer be sitting on TikTok scrolling. And if I find myself scrolling, I'm putting the phone down, or I'm going to find some content where I can go ahead and start posting. Because what I'm doing is I'm missing out on the quantified opportunity to give something to somebody that's going to need what I have. Okay. This was a saying, and I'm going to leave it here with y'all. And you guys got your homework, but I'm going to leave this here. This tickled me when Eric said this. He said, there's a world. He said, the world is full of flat squirrels who refuse to make a decision. And I was like, oh my gosh. Can you imagine a squirrel trying to make a decision? And you see how the squirrel be in the road and be going to make a decision, and they end up, because they refuse to make the decision to say go left or right. That's what happened. So your homework, I want 3 non-negotiables. Okay, list your 3 non-negotiables. We will see y'all on Wednesday. Okay. Don't
Karina, call me tomorrow. I need to talk to you.
do you want to stay on and I can talk to you when everybody else leaves?
Because I got to go back in for work.
Okay. All right. I'll call you
You
tomorrow.
know, I'm at work. I had to stop, and they know I have to come out here and get on prayer line. I call it prayer line.
Okay.
So everybody know about my little prayer line. I got to come and get on my little prayer line. I got to get what I need. I don't care. See, that's non-negotiable for me. I don't care where I'm at.
Very good.
I got if it's in my car, I got to get on.
Very good.
tried to make that a priority in my life.
All right.
So just when you have time, just give me a call tomorrow, because I'm going to go back in here and finish up so I can get home.
Okay. All right. So, ladies, your 3 non-negotiables, 3 things that you are going to stick to no matter what. Okay.
For how long?
It's up to you.
I'm just kidding. I'm being funny. I'm just being silly.
See how Gail do me, y'all? Yeah, she do me.
Yeah. I think, is this till the new year?
No. Yeah. And it's basically because one of the things that I heard a pastor tell me was repetition brings about retention. The more you do a thing, the more you'll stick to a thing.
That's right.
When you go off the beaten path, that means you ain't sticking to the plan. So keep repetition. We brush our teeth every day. Okay. So keep doing the same thing every day. I love y'all.
I love y'all too.
Wednesday, if you can be there, Deanna, I'll send you the link for Wednesday. You have the link for Sunday. It ain't gonna change, okay? But you know it now is 6 o'clock.
I know it's 6 o'clock.
Okay. I love you.
I
I'll
love
get
y'all.
your
Talk to
phone
y'all
numbers,
later.
Deanna.
Did you get
I
our?
send my numbers in the text message.
All right.
Okay.
All
Okay,
right. Well,
thank
we
you,
love you.
ladies.
All
All
right.
righty.
Have a great
Bye.
week.
All right.
Later.
All right.